Be ready?
Be ready for it, which is how you would like to see the reservation in 100 years from now. If you were looking down 100 years from now.
Okay, let's start with question 1.
Okay.
Before we go on, I got to tell this joke.
Okay.
There was this game warden. He's patrolling area, checking his area out. He come across this hunter, went over and he says, you know, you got to have license to hunt ducks here, you know. He says, yeah, I know. The guy was from out of state. He says, you got to have the Montana duck license. I got Montana duck license. Says, can I see him? He showed him his duck license. He had a bunch of ducks laying there. And so he, okay. Says, you know, these ducks, each one from a different part of the country, you have to have license for them too. So I got license for them. So let's check. So he went over, he took that one duck and he stuck his finger in its butt. Smelled it. Ah, that's a Colorado duck. Says, you got a Colorado license for this one? Says, yeah. Took his papers out. By God, he had a Colorado license for that one. So he went to the next one and he checked it and he smelled his finger. Says, this one's from California. Says, you got a California license? Says, yeah. Dug through his papers and gave him his California. By God, you got all of them. Says, okay. Says, you're okay. Says, by the way, says, where are you from? That guy says, you're so smart, you tell me. He pulled his pants down. That's all I want now. Now let's go home. Okay, what was your first question?
In what ways has traditional Kootenai culture been important for you growing up as a Kootenai?
In what ways has Kootenai tradition been important to me growing up as a Kootenai? The story, I got a story behind that. I'll share, and it's my personal little personal story. My folks were Salish, and I don't know what the connection was. I don't really know the connection yet of my folks and my adopted parents. I was born to unwed mother when she was 16 in Helena. And after I was born, 9 days later, these two elder Kootenai people come down that adopted me and raised me. And they raised me around the Kootenai tradition, the language, the dances, the ceremonial ways, and were strict with me as I was growing up. And that's to me, as I look back at it, it has been very important. It has been very important to me because reason one is these two old people didn't have to come down and get me and bring me here and raise me with and teach me the knowledge that they taught me and talk the language to me that they have. But I feel that Kootenai people, and particularly these two people, had a lot of love for orphans. They had a lot of love for people. And so they come after me, and they raised me in this place. And I'm thankful to my higher power that they did that, because I learned a lot in respect, learning to understand what connection a human being has with the nature, what connections a human being has with spirituality, learning to have a big heart, and pursuing that in a humble manner, the best I can. And these are learned from these two old people that raised me. They didn't, it wasn't all learned in schools, but the relationship of the family between my two grandfolks, my mother and father. They were my grandfolks, plus they were my mother and father. And through life in general, living with them, and this is what I learned. I learned to respect. I learned to be patient. Through some of my trial and errors as I was growing up, some of the things that I forgot sort of rekindling themselves in my mind, and I was able to remember some of the things that I thought I forgot, what my grandfolks, what my folks told me. So, to the Kootenai people, I'm thankful that that they cared enough, and I believe these two old people weren't the only ones that were like that. The tribe of the Kootenai tribe, the families, each gave individual care to many people, to many kids that didn't have a mom or a dad, and gave them a sense of family, gave them a sense of unity, gave them a good sense of direction. And I don't think a lot of this is ever mentioned. I don't think this is ever hardly talked about, because of the way the society is now and what we learned from the society, the dual culture. But I thought I'd bring that out in saying that's one of the reasons I feel growing up, I like to say that I'm a Kootenai. I can speak the language a little bit. I'm not what you'd call a intellect like an elder. An elder is an intellect. It can speak high language, high Kootenai. College words, they call it. But I can speak just a little bit, and I can understand and I can feel what is being said when I see somebody and am able to converse a few words with them. So I feel I owe, and I'm thankful to this culture and this tribe that I was raised with. And I try my best to practice that with my family. I try my best to practice with the community, in whichever way I can. that I don't make no mistakes. If I teach something, that I teach it properly. If I do something with young people, that I do it properly with them. I approach elders, that I do it properly. Many of these try to follow a good example, so that it won't stop wherever, as I cease, as I get old and as I cease, it won't stop there. My children, my nieces and nephews, the young ones, will carry on some form of culture, some form of tradition. Because although I might have came up specifically with the Kootenai tribe, you got to look at the Indian as a whole too, the mass, the tribe, and that part it gets more complex. But then you got to remember you were born an Indian and you will die an Indian. We're not like a computer where you can interchange and put a different chip in and you get a different program. We're human beings. We're flesh and blood. We sometimes forget to acknowledge that we're human beings, and that we start getting into just mental state. We forget about our spiritual, our physical, our emotional state. I think those four components in our life, if we keep those four components in a well-balanced way, we can lead a pretty good life, and that's a good hope for our children. And by the way, you got your lens cap on that camera. Hi, jokes. He's saying, oh shit. But it's been important to me. You know, I don't know which kind of word, what I could say as an individual that would be clear. But if anybody is to listen to a question like that, you know, how has it been important to me as a Kootenai person growing up in a Kootenai tribe? It has been very important. It has been essential to my life, and especially for me. You know, if it wasn't for them too, I would have probably got adopted out by some Soyapis and living somewhere else, being a good academic student, making 50 grand a year.
5 Harleys.
Have 5 Harleys, and talking about Indians, about how I read about them out of a book. This way I had 2 real live parents that taught me and showed me. Examples is when I was 5, 6 years old, and when I go to like a wake, if I went to a wake, I couldn't run around like a lot of kids do nowadays. We went in there, and my grandmother would pray, and when she'd get done praying, she'd sit down, and she'd tell me, you come over here and you sit right here, right now. Says, don't you go running around. You sit right here. Don't move. You didn't come here to play. Says, you come here to pray for that individual. You come here to pray for that individual's soul so it'll make it to heaven. That's where all your ancestors went. And when that soul gets there, that soul will say, I seen so and so and so and so. And them souls that are in heaven will be happy that they seen that this one got to see us sitting here praying for that soul. Because you're not here to go play over there. You're not here to go play over there. Sit right here. After we bury him, you have all the time in the world to go play. And then I couldn't move. I couldn't move. I'd have to sit right there. I'd have to sit right there with her. And at that young age, it was pretty hard. You know, I'd have all kinds of nasty things running through my mind like, oh, Christ, you know, why do I have to sit here with these old people? God, I could be playing. Look at all that good, you know, this would be going through here. Later in life, I learned that the respect, the patience, the spirituality form of what I was there for. When she'd take me to a ceremony, she'd say, sit down, right here. That's where we sit. Through the night, if a ceremony at night, I'd sit there. She said, don't think about anything else. Have one heart. Think with one heart. Because you didn't come here either to play. And it was rigid. It was strict. But I learned from it at that time. And every year we go to like the jump dance ceremony. Same way. Sit down. You want to dance, you go dance in the middle. That's where the kids danced. Let the adults dance. But don't be running around. I'd have to stay right in order. So they were strict. But I'm thankful today for that. And again, you know, it taught me the respectful things. It taught me the patience. And I understand the language for that. And whatever I can, I'm willing to share it. I'm willing to teach it. And today it's hard. It's hard. It's hard to say, well, my children, come sit down, I'm going to talk with you, my own children. So there's a piece of it being lost there. And it's part of my neglect. It's part of my laziness. It's part of being human. Part of me has converted to a lot of what America is about. I'd rather watch Wheel of Fortune than sit down and teach my kid I'd rather watch Miami Vice than sit down and say, come here, let's pray before we eat. And this is how you pray. I'd rather go to Kmart and shop all day than to go down and build a sweat and say, come here, my daughter, my son, let's learn these songs. Let's learn these songs, that they're important. This is what my mom and dad told me we can use these songs for, and it'll help us. No, I'd rather go shop at Kmart. Or I might not even know them. And I go over there, I go look for my elder. I'm here, I wanted to learn these certain things. Oh, they went to bingo. And so I won't know them, and then my kids won't know them. But then it works all the way around. That's what it is. It's I'm neglectful on my part. I'm not saying, I'm not trying to say, gee, it's all their fault, all their fault. A good portion of that is my fault too. I got to get off my ass and say, come on, let's do it. Get up, stand up. Get up, stand up, walk tall. Speak that language without shame. Dance without shame. Be proud of who you are. But, you know, I get lazy. I get lazy. I like my 501 jeans. I like cruising down the road on my bike. I guess that's what I could put together from that one question to say, well, that's why it was important. And I think possibility, possibility thinking, I think of belief without evidence. I think with those things, we can do it. Language can be revived. Culture can be practiced, not exactly the way it was done 200-300 years ago, but I think it can be practiced, and it can be done. So the heritage will continue. And I'm a part of that. I'll be a part of it and support in every way I can.